It's really good. Okay, definitely is a very different looking ball from anything else that's out there, so that's always nice when there's only so many colors. That's really good. Okay, me likey that one already. That might hook. Yeah, we definitely gave that one some room, and it handled it.
Hello and welcome to my review for the Swag Craze Pearl, which releases on January 31st, and trust me, I'm just as shocked as you are, for several different reasons, as you'll see throughout the video. There's a lot to talk about, and since that's what I do best, I'm just going to let it flow, and we'll end up where we end up. Now, at the same time, this is still going to be a regular review. I'm not going to go off the rails and just ramble, so whatever you're here for, I've got you covered. As I always say to get started, I'm a longtime Pro Shop guy, and I've uploaded nearly 2,000 videos with the goal of helping you know what you're buying so that you can waste less money and enjoy bowling more. I have both a full standard review up front and then plenty of on-lane commentary, context, and thoughts in the back half of the video. We are, of course, at Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas on the Kegel Chromium Challenge pattern. 42 feet, 25.5 mils. The graph is linked in the description if you want all of the pattern details. We are closest to hustle territory on the core details for this one, 252 RG and a 030 differential and 15 pounds. That also puts it in IQ Tour territory. Rage Pearl cover that's, again, extremely shiny, a little too shiny out of the box in my opinion, but I never worry about surface since you can change it and it automatically changes as you're bowling anyway. The total package, I think, is closer overall to IQ Strength than it is to Hustle Strength, but those two aren't really that far off anyway. Like if the Hustle X-Ray and IQ Tour were the same color, not sure you could tell the difference, but I digress. I've got some extra things to say with this one, so I'll hit the explanation monologue here, and then we'll get into it. To try to explain this as briefly and efficiently as possible, and sorry in advance, I'm going to say the same thing in every one of these swag reviews I have coming in case people don't watch them in order. These aren't your bros swag balls, and I think just looking at the names, the marketing, the optics of the balls, and already how this one is reacting should make that apparent. Bowlers Mart is now in control of the fulfillment and distribution for the swag US market as well as assisting with design, and that means hitting the reset button to a certain degree to make it more of a legitimate competitive brand. Swag became kind of a meme that didn't even really take their own shtick seriously, or that didn't commit to the bit, so to speak, so I've always avoided offers in years past to do any kind of reviews because I felt like that'd be a hit to my credibility, to be perfectly honest. However, when Bowlers Mart owner Cliff Barnes, who's one of the best dudes in the industry by the way, when he told me what was up and asked me to test them out and shoot him straight on what I thought, I was still hesitant, but also intrigued since it is new stuff. I mean, there's nothing called the Black Pearl Bloody Ocean, a special edition remix, Tale of Captain Jack Sparrow or something. It all looks on paper like it's trying to still be edgy and fun, but also seriously compete in the US. I know there's going to be a million questions, so don't hesitate to leave comments. We need to move on to the ball reaction now. To catch up, the most comfortable place for me on the lane is a little 14-ish to 6 or 7 swing, or basically around third arrow, so that's where I start filming from to give me an instant impression. I'm rev and speed matched and both are medium, so I would say that I have fairly average bowler specs. The type of ball I typically use is a strong symmetric like the Summit or GB5, up to weaker or more medium strength ASIMs like a Hammer Effect Tour, Theorem, or a Black Widow Mania, and the Craze Pearl is definitely underneath that zone, but not as far as you might think. This one might be my favorite one of the 6 releases. It's at least tied with the Fusion, if nothing else. Very recognizable ball. I've said it before, but there's only so many colors, so when a new ball comes out that looks just like another ball from another company, that's unavoidable. It's going to happen, but when a company does manage to come out with something like this, and you know exactly what it is when you see it, extra kudos there. This one is also earlier, stronger, and a little smoother than the Solid. Sometimes that happens, and the Pearl additives can make that a thing, plus it shapes quite a bit differently. This one is heavier rolling, more tumbly, and more naturally continuous. This one's almost like a symmetric Beyond Infinity or No Rules Pearl if you go that far back. Kind of that heavier rolling, almost chuggy, tumbly climbing shape. Now it's still decently clean and responsive. I wouldn't call it clean and fast, but it's definitely not early and slow. Where I thought that the Venom Shock and Hyper Venom were stronger and a little heavier rolling than the Craze Solid, the Pearl feels exactly like a Hyper Venom that doesn't suck. Just like all the other swag balls, it fits really well from the sweet spot at third arrow, it looks very good from the straighter second arrow zone, and then it absolutely owns the deeper, closer to fourth arrow zone. This one approaches calling it special, and you might catch it in some of the live comms, but how I decide if a ball is special or not is if it's both good and hard to replace. If it's versatile, if it's something a lot of people are going to be able to use in a lot of conditions, is it just a rehash of something else, or is it fairly unique? And if I had to replace it with something else, how easy would that be? It'd take me way too long to run down through and explain the whole checklist, but at $120, that cuts a lot of stuff out to begin with. And while something like the Arctic Vibe, for example, is very strong for the price, it's not nearly as versatile and was a little difficult to control with the box shine on it. If you like my jersey, by the way, code ROSEDALL10 at checkout will knock 10% off. Same discount code for 3D printed ball cups and spinners from Scarred Prints, plus there's a discount link for 10% off an Nexus backpack, their new journal or other products, and finally an email address for custom handcrafted items like pins, bottle openers, stoppers, and even bowls made out of old bowling balls. All kinds of other great and helpful things in the description. Also take a look at my YouTube memberships where for just $5 a month you can get all my videos early and ad-free. I'm having trouble finding something that's similar either in ball design or close to the same price point, so we're just going to go with the Arctic, I guess. Even balls that it shapes like, such as the Beyond Infinity or Atlas Hybrid, are quite a bit stronger and asymmetric, so definitely not replacing it with one of those. The closest replacement would probably be the Hypervenom, but it's just one of the most inconsistent and not versatile balls I've thrown in a while, so it's out too. I was always impressed with the Arctic's performance for the price, a super strong ball. Once I knocked the box shine off, that made it quite a bit more controllable, but it was just way too dynamic for the straighter zone either way. You can see the Craze Pearl just doesn't pick up and move so hard on the back end. I think you can see too that the Arctic is chuggier, decently heavier rolling. It hits the lane and wants to slow down. And again, it definitely acts a ton stronger than it or anything else at its price point is supposed to be. You're just not going to find a stronger ball within another 30 or 40 bucks. Now, while the Craze Pearl is weaker and not as dynamic, just look at the forgiveness and the control every single time we go back to it. That kind of crisp and clean, very stable but readable punch down lane that holds in the middle but gets back from further out. This one I think still needs a little rev rate. If you're too low, I think it's going to be too smooth unless you like walking it off the corner, then it's going to be really good. But if you play up 10 and throw stronger stuff to get it to hook and corner down lane, this one's probably going to be a little weak or slow. Higher speeds as well. I just don't think it quite shapes or hooks enough to get through the pins firmly unless, again, you're really super pointing it. I think it's going to be best for medium and up revs and medium high to low speed. After all, it's still a more light to medium oil ball, so just because it rolls so good and it still obviously reaches up a bit doesn't mean it's in summit or game breaker territory or anything. This is just your really extra good, bank account friendly, house shot league ball for most people that's also going to hang out really well in tougher conditions when you get into medium to heavy transition and need this kind of look. Make sure to stick around for the live comm on this one even if you typically don't. The fun twist here is that when I got these balls, I had no idea what the specs were, so it's just me throwing a ball and reading what it's doing. I pinpointed this one pretty quick, but it wasn't terribly difficult. Lower flaring, cleaner, more medium strength. This one is an automatic everywhere ball. I've seen all I need to see, and it may not be quite strong enough for my scratch league, but some pairs are weird, and sometimes I need something like this, so even if I don't use it much, it's going. I never thought I'd throw a swag ball, and especially never say anything like this about it, so if you're looking for something different and want to stand out, or just like throwing stuff you don't see all over the place, at least not yet, give these a fair shake. Swag isn't a meme brand anymore, and if you continue to think that, the joke might be on you. This video was brought to you by Panda Bear Productions. We put the in bowling. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.
All right. Last swiggity swag ball. This is the Craze Pearl, and this one looks very sexy. I like the look of this one quite a bit. It kind of looks like a plastic ball, but hope it doesn't hook like a plastic ball. Let's see. Good enough. May need another piece of tape though. Definitely is a very different looking ball from anything else that's out there, so that's always nice when there's only so many colors. That's really good. Okay. Me likey that one already. Yeah, there's only so many colors. And so many color combinations when bowling balls come in 2 or 3 colors. And the fact that they were able to make something that does look different is always noteworthy to me. This is very clearly, and you see this ball rolling down the lane, you can tell it's a Craze Pearl. You don't have to, oh, what is that ball? I can't tell, because there's 4 other balls out there that look like it. That's a little forward, up the back of it. Yeah, that was my fault. I just got off the back of it. Definitely tell that the Pearl and the Solid are related. The Solid has a little different roll. It's not super round and continuous. I think the Solid shapes more like a cleaner Venom Shock. It's got kind of that archy, directional. This one's more of a tumbly. This one's more of a tumble. Oh boy, that needs a lot of help. Okay, well, that ball shouldn't have even hooked, so. That was also a little forward, but I didn't leak it so far out, so it all worked out, but it wasn't my best shot. Let's throw another shot more like the first 2. Yep, that's it. Cool. I have trouble saying that bowling balls are special because there's only so far that bowling balls can go. This one feels so far. I mean, we'll have to throw some more shots with it. The Fusion, out of the 6 of them, the Fusion for me and this one kind of are the standouts. Yeah, that's fine. My approach is getting lopey. But anyway, the way that I kind of look at bowling balls is like, okay, so if I had to replace this ball, how many options out there could easily replace this ball? This one is a little trickier. That's really good. Whew. Okay, there we go. But yeah, this one is trickier to figure out the replacement for. And so when people say balls are special, I think that's what they mean, what they should mean when they say balls are special. It means that there's not really anything else out there that could one-for-one replace it. That's a little out, but it'll hook. All right, let's straighten up a little bit. Okay, that was I was a little soft with. It was a good shot. It was a good shot though. So that should just take a little adjustment. And what I was saying about flat corner versus ring corner really just means a bigger adjustment. Sometimes a flat corner means a different ball entirely. Sometimes it means a bigger adjustment. A ring corner is just really not that big of a deal. That was garbage. Just oh, there we go. A little bit late. That was a good shot though, at least. A little bit late. That's really good. Okay. We're gonna skip another shot from the middle zone because we saw enough there. These came shiny, so we don't need to see anything different between dull and shiny. Just gonna skip in here and see what this one does. That's really good. Okay. So, not a lot different than the Solid. This one, it's another one of those weird ones where I feel like the Pearl's a little bit earlier and slower than the Solid. I don't know, I think it's just the different shapes. Just the different shapes. A little more hockey stick, clean and directional from the Solid. A little more archy, tumbly, rounder climbing from the Pearl. That might hook. Yeah, we definitely we definitely gave that one some room, and it handled it. I was slow enough to make it work, but boy, that's, ooh, it still had to dig it out, but it did. And that was a good shot. So anytime you see a ball digging a corner out, that's exceptionally good news. There's some people that are like, oh, but it wasn't flush. It's like, no, but if you see it digging that corner out, that means it's not burning up, it's got plenty of energy, it's hitting with authority. Instead of wrapping it, it's digging it. That's really good. So yeah, this one seems to be handling the angle a little bit better than the solid, and I don't know if it's just because the solid's a little bit more directional, wants to go a little bit straighter out the end of the pattern. This one's kind of a more climby. I feel like if I give it more time, it just kind of wants to pick up and continue. One more shot. Been pretty good on those today, so let's see. Good enough. Okay. Big thumbs up on this one. This one's the real deal. So, cue it.